from the former New York advertising creative director and copywriter for over 20 years. He's an expert in innovative thinking, creative problem solving, and idea generation. Oh, a smart guy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and let's welcome Keith Harmeyer to the stage. Keith.
You, Mark. First, I want to say, if you had told me 30 years ago that Bob Eubanks was going to open for me, I would have thought you were nuts. What a great morning this has been. So I'd like to get you to consider for just a moment that everything you've heard today, everything you will hear, every story, every joke, every video you'll watch, not that long ago, was nothing more than an idea. Just somebody's idea. And today, you're getting to watch all those ideas come to life. It's kind of cool when you think about that. And what about you? Think back for just a second and try to remember the last time you had a great idea. And by a great idea, I just mean an idea that kind of got you excited. You know, one of those ideas that's so clever that the minute you came up with it, you were kind of impressed with yourself. You're like, yes, that's good. Ideas have always been really important to me. Even as a very young child, I figured out that I could solve just about any problem if I could just come up with an idea that was good enough. So this is actually me. All right, I know. Some costume, right? Who needs Spider-Man? This is like cool. I was about 8 years old when this is taken, and it was taken in my hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana, on Mardi Gras morning. So I was pretty happy. But while it might not look like it, I was really trying to solve a problem at this point in my life. And my problem was how to get my parents to buy me a real guitar instead of that piece of junk they brought me from their vacation in Mexico. But I came up with a great idea to solve this. You see that little guitar? It didn't sound very good, but I played it anyway. And I played it, and played it, and played it, and I sang too, and before long, I not only had a real guitar, I had real guitar lessons. And voice lessons, bonus. It probably won't surprise you to know that that little boy in the costume grew up to be what some people might refer to as a creative type. Now, between you and me, all that really means is that in my entire life, I never had to work at a real job, ever. It was great. I went on to pursue a career on the stage as a professional singer, clearly not a real job. Jeff Slutsky said if I didn't make a joke about these photographs, he would do it for me. So there it is. But yeah, this is me in my very last professional opera production. It was The Magic Flute by Mozart. And I know at this point, from experience, what a lot of people are thinking. You think, oh, opera singer, right. But I really was. You're going to have to take my word for it today because there's no time for singing. Sorry. That's it. But yeah, I was an opera singer. And as a performer, as you might imagine, there were a lot of challenges to work on. But my biggest problem at this point in my life was trying to figure out how to make enough money to pay my rent in New York City working as a young, struggling artist. That was a tough one. Took me several years to work that out. And then one day somebody said to me, you know, Keith, they'll hire just about anybody in an advertising agency as long as they can come up with ideas. And I thought, well, heck, I can do that. And so I did. I got a job as a copywriter, and eventually I would become a creative director. By the way, also not a real job. My guess is some of you have worked with creative directors before. You know exactly what I mean. But you know, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was doing what I was always meant to do, coming up with ideas to solve problems. And it wasn't just my problems anymore. I was solving my clients' problems, marketing problems, branding problems, business problems of all kinds, just like you do. And you know, after all those years, I was pretty good at it, which is a good thing because otherwise I would still be trying to figure out how to make a living doing this. But more importantly, because I believe today, more than ever before, if you're going to be successful in business, you must believe in the power of your ideas. Now, why do I say that? Why are ideas so important? Well, it really comes down to this. The I word. Can you think of a word that's more overused in business today than this one? I think I've heard it at least 5 or 6 times today already. Seems like whatever meeting you're in, whatever conference you're attending or planning, inevitably the conversation comes back to innovation. It's like we can't get away from it. But the truth of the matter is we can't get away from it because today, like it or not, we all work and live in a world that's driven by innovation. All of the companies we talk about, the ones we admire, the ones we wish we could be more like, or the ones that are considered the most innovative. And of course, the companies that fail to innovate, well, we talk about them too, but usually in the past tense. Because you see, today, failure to innovate very quickly leads to irrelevance. And irrelevance in today's world is pretty much the same thing as extinction. Now, it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that this demand for innovation only has to do with big companies, the Googles and the Facebooks and the Amazons of the world, but that's simply not the case. And I thank Bob for not only saying this, but demonstrating it for you. Today, every single one of us, I don't care what our job title is under continuous pressure to reinvent ourselves, our work, and the value we deliver to our clients, to our customers, and to our own organizations. If you aren't consistently showing up at the table with fresh, new, innovative ideas for tackling challenges, solving problems, capitalizing on opportunities, if you aren't doing that, someone else will. It's just a matter of time. That's the world we live in. You see, today, change is the only constant. Today, every one of us wants the new thing, and we want it to get better and better and better and better. Every one of us today wants it all, and we want it without compromise, and we want it now. I do, you do, and yes, our clients and our customers do as well. In other words, every one of us today expects and demands constant innovation. See, today in business, you really only have three options. You either innovate, you imitate, or you stagnate. You innovate, you continuously reinvent yourself and stay ahead of that game. Establish yourself as a leader. You imitate, you let somebody else do the innovating, and then desperately try to keep up. Not a fun way to do business. Or you stagnate. You just continue doing business as usual. And we already talked about where that leads. So you see, today, we really do all have to be a little bit like Steve Jobs if we hope to succeed. So of course, the question is, how? What do we actually have to do every day when we show up at work in order to think and act more innovatively? So in my work at my company, SmartStorming, this is a concept we refer to as everyday innovating. And it's really not as complicated or hard as it might sound. But first, if you're going to be an innovator, you have to actually understand what innovation is. If I asked everybody in the room what innovation means to you, we'd probably have as many definitions as we have people. So I'm going to share the one I use in my work. It's really very simple, easy to understand and apply. In our work, we define innovation as the introduction of something new or different that provides greater value or benefit. It's got to be new or different than what's there already, but it must provide some degree of greater value or benefit to somebody. It's got to be better. It's got to be an improvement. So when you think of innovation in these terms, it's not quite so mysterious or daunting. You don't have to introduce the new iPhone. You just have to find something that could be better and improve it. It could be a product, a service, a process, a design, technology, even an entire business model, anything. Now, once you understand what innovation is, there's really a pretty simple process that you can follow, and this can be part of your everyday work. Now, in my keynotes and in my workshop, I take the audience through this and spend some time. This is an interactive exercise where they actually work on a challenge and come up with innovative solutions. But I'm going to ask you, even though we're going to do it quickly today, try to go through the process on your own and see if you can come up with some solutions for something in your business or your life. So the first step is you have to have something to innovate. All innovation begins with a challenge. So you have to identify something in your business or your life that isn't working or isn't working as well as it could. Or it could be, by the way, an opportunity. It doesn't have to be a problem. It could be a new project that's come up and you want to just knock it out of the park. So think for a minute, and if anything comes to mind, keep it in mind and work on this. And by the way, it's important to think of innovation not only in terms of the thing you sell, your services, but really every aspect of the way you do business. Everything is open for innovation because it's not just what we do that delivers value and can have an impact. It's how we do it. Now, if you have something in mind, the next step is when the fun begins. This is what I call playing what if. This is when you begin to imagine solutions, imagine ideas for making that thing better or more effective or improved. And of course, this is where those ideas become so important because ideas are the seeds of innovation. Every innovative product, service, or process ever invented started out as somebody's idea. Today, ideas are the currency of success. Your ideas are what will set you apart from others. The quality and the uniqueness of your ideas is what will define the value you deliver to your clients and to your organization. So, maybe you have an idea, maybe something's popped into your mind. What's next? Well, once you have an idea, of course, you have to take action. Now, you probably can't do that right now, but as soon as you get back to work, you can. You have to give it a try. And by the way, today you have to do it fast before somebody else beats you to it. You don't have the time today to perfect your ideas before you give them a shot. As Seth Godin says, today you just have to ship it fast. You can always make adjustments and refinements and improvements along the way. And how do you do that? Well, you simply repeat the process. It's very unlikely that your initial idea is going to be perfect. You're going to have to make improvements. And so you do that by identifying what might not be working as well as it could be, playing what if and coming up with solutions, and giving them a try. And you just keep that process going over and over again until you end up at a successful, innovative solution. See, this is what innovators do. And that's everyday innovating. And it's something that every one of us can do. We all have what it takes to do this. But of course, you have to do it. If you wait for the things around you to change, by the time you notice, it's already too late. Today, you have to disrupt your own business before something or someone else disrupts it for you. Remember, today, the only way to win the game is to change the game every single day. So, I'll ask you once more. When was the last time you had a great idea? You know, an idea that's so clever that the minute you came up with it, you even impressed yourself. Because I don't know about you, but I have one right now.
Yes, I'm singing, I said I wouldn't, but in fairness, Susan didn't say I couldn't. Mixing opera and innovation, come on, admit that's an innovative combination. Spoken word, melody, can you tell? I'm a little ADD. Yes, innovation is my obsession. But you see, Mom and Dad spend so much on my voice lessons. So please indulge me if you can. I just want to make a good meeting planner impression. I think you'll see just how I bring it all together seamlessly. If you agree, I hope that you will plan to innovate with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.